Dude, that looks so freaking good. I cannot believe we just did that by hand here in my 2-car garage. Let's go. All right, so we are finally gonna get to go back forward. Hands down, the most frustrating about this project, and probably your project if you're new, is having to continuously go backwards. Forward 2 steps, backwards 1 step. Very, very frustrating. So as you've seen in the other video, we fixed our bead roller over an hour and a half setback just to freaking get back on track. Very hard for me mentally, and y'all probably struggle with this also, so don't feel alone. Very hard for me to get back into the flow. When I switch mentally like that, whether it's garage construction when we remodeled this garage, or when I pause to upgrade a tool or fix a tool, it's very hard to get back into that flow of that mindset of the metalworking. Once I get in something, I like to just roll with it and just stick with it. But now we're finally going to start bead rolling our piece of sheet metal. These steps are crucial though, because this thing's still got a little bit of heat in it. I literally went and took lunch and everything. You have to sometimes build stuff to work. I don't think this is going to get a stand. So as you can see, I'm already a little more cluttered than I want to be in this area. I don't want 4 stands over here. That's where I draw a line at. I think I'm going to end up just keeping this down here on the shelf. I kind of wish that they had some kind of metal plate on the bottom of this right here. I don't really feel like building nothing, but that way it can slide in and out, and wish they had some way to protect the knobs on it, but I guess we're just going to have to be careful. But I think we'll just use the vise always and just sit it in the vise versus anything else. Is that roller hitting? Oh, that roller is hitting up there. Okay, so we need to make sure when we put this thing in there that it is spaced up a touch. I need some kind of spacer probably just to put in there when I use this thing, or bolt something to the bottom of it, so that, because it's heavy. This thing is really freaking heavy. So when you go to sit it in there by yourself, it is very hard to also lift up on it to get it where it's not rolling on that roller, but we don't want it to do that. Let's get our bench cleaned up. I'm sick of this too, having to continuously clean up, make a mess, clean up. All of these tools put up, everything put up, and then we can cut our metal. We got a few pieces to cut, and then we can do our bead roll. All right, so we are going to put us a bead roll in here. Now, Uncle Mike gave us a little piece of advice. He said to put the bead roll in before you cut it out. Not 100% sure why, but Mike's smart, so that's what we're gonna do. But we want to put our curves, we want curves in here, and we want them nice and clean. So I'm gonna do them with this punch out that we got. I figured why not, we have it, right? So let's get us a straight edge and establish where our curves are going to be. We're going to come in and space this in a little bit. So we're going to take all of our perimeter lines, we're going to scoop them in. No rhyme or reason, this is just the piece I'm grabbing. And we'll come. We can just put the bead roll right above that one. Let's switch to this. Yeah, I guess that would be all right. Now, see, I want to see, like, if I was putting my hand in there. I think that's fun. Let's make that the same though, because that line is just a line that I made. 11 1/8. It's not like it's not like I traced an edge or anything. That's the one that's going to be a little tricky, but now we'll take our punch out. Let's see here, this is going to be the actual size of the punch. I'm going to lay this on here. Another thing we're going to do is while we have this on here, we're going to go ahead and mark our spot. That's where we need to drill our hole. That's kind of important. This should create us a really clean look. And actually, you know what? I probably don't even need these center holes because I think I'm a bead roll on this line. Actually, I am, so I don't need them center holes because I'm going to punch actually in more than that. But we'll go ahead and just put them there. All right, so now we're just going to follow this line with the bead roller. And then we will come on the inside of the bead roll and the bead roll. I'm thinking B-roll like video. When we make videos, the B-roll is the interesting stuff that y'all see that just has music over it. All right. So now let's see if we can bead roll that. I don't think we can get that actually. I don't know if I got enough depth. Let's see here, what was the depth on this? The reach, about 18, 19, 18, oh, 11 something. Okay, so we can get that. We should be able to get both of them. All right, let's see. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm actually dreading it. Now, one of the other mods you can do with this thing is put a spring so that it picks it up. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. A lot of people are obsessed over that stuff on the internet. See, it seems like I want my roller on the top. It's like I want my curd piece on the top. Sure, how far would that put that in there? I don't think it matters if which die is on the top and which die is on the bottom. I did it like this because it's just what I've seen in the picture. We are going to mark our top roller though. Because we want to follow this line on our line. Bingo. All right. Fingers crossed, y'all. Let's see here. I'm gonna feed the metal that way. So let's start with it like this. And I don't want to start right near the curve. Okay, what I can tell you is that's the wrong way. We don't want the bead roll pushed in. Okay, so this is where a smart person would have done a test sample. I'm not too worried about it though, because I've never looked for perfection. So I don't want to mark that on the other side. So I think we're literally just going to flip the dies again back to what they were, and we'll have to figure out a way to see the center of that one down there. All right, again, we're going to mark our roller. I think I'm actually off-centered a little bit, but who cares? Looks close enough. All right. And we're going to start different this time. We don't want to start in the same track that we were just in. I don't even know if I gotta lock this thing down. Oh, I guess that keeps it pulled up tight to the thing. At a 90, it's not so much about locking it down. It's gonna be hard to see the curves, I'll tell you that. Okay, so we messed our curve up. And we can't get through that way. Oh, man. All right, so we'll just have to, let's see here. I don't really want to reverse over all of that. This is where you probably should also do a test run to make sure. Let's see here. Probably should have also counted how many curves we were down. How many times we turn that knob, because that's going to be how much pressure we put on it. So, y'all, we're learning as we go together. Reverse. But we're still going to hit on that side. All right. I made it at that point. Let's see. Let's crack this open and do, let's see here, that's 1.5 turns. No, I'm gonna go 2. All right, so now three. So 1, 2, 3. So I kind of switched and following a different line on that one, which I'm going to have to remember to do the same thing on the other side. This is where you could definitely use a spare hand. This is not a cosmetic, about to hit the camera, not a cosmetic B-roll. So this B-roll won't even be seen at all. This is a structural B-roll. So that's the reason why I wasn't too worried about getting it 100% precise. But we're gonna have to take a picture of this as soon as we're done, so that the next one, I can follow it on the same lines. So the curves are definitely, you got to move fast. That's the secret to the curves. So now this one down here, we're gonna have to start transitioning back because my line is off. It's gonna be so funky matching the other side. It's very hard. All right, not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, so this is what we end up with. The next one, like I said, is going to be absolutely suck to try to match it. I don't even know if we will try to match it, honestly. But you can see we started out following our line, and then that's where we got messed up in this corner. We definitely did not follow our line. Our wheel tub is way over here. And then now we switch to where our line is on the inside, and we followed our line around to the inside. This peak should have been centered because that's what we started out with right here, centering the peak. But being I got off in the curve, I just left it off. Thinking back now, being I got off here, I should have spun it faster and got back on track for here. That way it would have just been easier to duplicate on the other side, and the only thing that would have been different is just this little piece right here. But when we draw the next one, we'll just move our line, our center line, to this curve, and basically our center lines will be this, so we'll have to kind of measure it. But then our line went on the inside, and then as you can see right here is where I started to drift, like I said, back into my center because I knew I was going to have to line back up with my center line there. So overall, it doesn't look bad at all. Now let's find where we're going to punch our punches out of this thing, and then let's get the center cut out. We got some cutting to do on the bottom, and then we should be able to put this one in, and this panel is basically done. All right, so there's our first panel. These are going to be the spot welds for our inner structure piece. If you're new here and you did not follow all around, we do have that inner brace. You need to go ahead and probably prime it. We'll go ahead and prime the back side of this panel, and that turned out amazing. Now, I'm going to do one more step that's going to make making the other side symmetrical super freaking easy. We'll make a template just like this. So 4.25 inches from this arrow to the outer edge, 3 inches from this arrow to the outer edge. Now, look at that. We have our pattern. We could take our scissors, cut that out, draw that on the other panel, and we know that we need to run the inside. Let's see here, the inside of our die, which would be like this edge right here. I think I'll make sure I'm not all backwards, around this line that we draw on the other panel. And that will give us a symmetrical shape and a symmetrical location. Now this gets covered up with interior, but what this panel is for basically is access. So this is so that we can get inside this quarter panel if we ever need to run lines through there, wires through there. We could put insulation in there, you know, to quiet it down. I mean, whatever we need. It's a good idea to have some access. I really do not like closing off panels where I can't get inside of them. Nothing worse than trying to go back and do something later and you can't get inside a panel. So that's why I'm thinking ahead. I spent more time than normal smoothing these edges out because it's way easier to do now on the bench. And if you're trying to dig your hand in there and work in there, I don't want to have to deal with this. So this panel should be, let's see here, this panel should be 100% done, I think. We're going to put this one in this time with self-tapping screws back into our Cleco holes. So we'll probably run our Clecos through, put them all where they need to go, and then we'll pull the Clecos out and put self-tapping screws in. But this thing should be done. However, we're not going to weld it in because we could be getting ahead of ourselves and need to get back in there. And as long as I can just self-tap screw everything together, then I'm perfectly fine. I'm in no hurry to weld it all together. We can go back and weld it together later. Let's get it back in there. All right, dude, that looks so freaking good. Oh man, it's kind of worth it, but it's also kind of bittersweet because you sit here and you're like, finally, I'm so glad to have that done. Gotta do it all over. Fortunately, we know what we're doing. We don't have to find measurements. We have a stencil to lay out. We can rock and roll straight through it, get that thing put back in the car, and then we can move on to where I want to go, which is this piece of metal right here that we mocked up this morning. This is going to be the seat support. Once I get that panel made over here where that cutout's made and it's back in and it's screwed all in, we've put self-tapping screws in that to kind of to hold it in place, because like I said, that panel should not move. This should be exactly where it's going to be. We should be able to, once we feel good about it, just start welding up and then take our screws out. The backside's primed, everything. We shouldn't have to go back in there. But once we can get the duplicate done over here, then we can get our piece of metal done for both sides. We can weld that in, actually, and we can get rid of this bar. We can take the seat pan back out, cut the bottom of our seat pan, trim up some back corners, and then the seat pan will just slide in and out like butter, sitting on top of these main supports. And I will tell you in a future video when we get to this, or later, whenever, why I chose to do this like I did, and why that metal is so thick. we go. We got both of them done. Man, that is a good looking sight. I cannot believe that we right here on this channel have built this whole entire backseat area. I know we're not done, but this is a huge accomplishment if we think back onto everything that we have tasked. We cut a whole Volvo S60 in half and then cut that half down to nothing but a seat pan. We cut a whole freaking car in half for this seating area right here. Then we cut this car, well, we did this first, we cut this car completely apart, and we have slowly put it back together. I really cannot thank y'all enough for following along with all of this. I know that everybody don't. We've currently got, I think, 13,600 viewers subs, and there's only about 800 on average following along with every video on this Plymouth build. So to y'all 800 people, I greatly appreciate it. For everybody else, they're snoozing because they could be learning and doing this themselves also one day, for anybody that dreams of doing this, because I never thought I would be here if it wasn't for the YouTube community that I watch and follow that has taught me and encouraged me to get to where I am today.